the end of the day. I'm gonna run through the week. It's been a minute since I've been able to do that. On the front end, I wanna say this. I don't even know, this is super weird, and I never saw another YouTuber do this ever, but I'm gonna ask anyway. I am without a co-teacher at the moment. If you watch these videos, you know that my co-teacher took a new job, and that I'm in the classroom by myself in a classroom that's supposed to be co-taught. One of the ideas that the school has is to just have a long-term sub come in, and I am interested in anyone that would like to take that position. It is a posted position. It's for teachers anyway. I just think that I have a platform that maybe I reach the right person. So if anyone's interested in teaching with me for the rest of the year, if you come in as a long-term sub, you won't be responsible for lesson plans. You're simply in the classroom to give me an extra set of hands to help those students that need a little bit of extra help. That might look like pulling them out and reading with them on the side. It might look like reading through a test with certain students. It might look like building relationships so that things are handled so the class runs smoother. So if someone is having a hard time staying still or sitting still or keeping their hands to themselves, that you would just help. And this is really weird, but when the school told me they were still looking for someone, I thought, why don't I just ask all of you? Now, there's a chance that, my friends in Israel, you cannot come here for this job probably, or those of you in Vietnam or England or California or the myriad of other fantastic places that I get comments from, this isn't for you. I hope we can meet one day anyway. If you are in the Philadelphia area, go ahead and email me. My email address is realrapwiththereynolds. Email me, tell me what your situation is, and we'll see if we can make something happen. The least you would need for this is the ability to substitute teach, right? You have to have your substitute teaching certification, and then you can get in as a long-term sub. I don't know, maybe this works, maybe it doesn't. Is this the weirdest thing I've ever said on here? Kind of feels like it. Let's get into the week. Here's Monday, or Tuesday, or whatever day I started this on. It's October 31st. It's, I almost said Hawaii. It's Halloween here in the United States. For those of you that are unfamiliar with Halloween, Halloween is when we get dressed up and go to other people's houses and ask for candy. Any other time of the year, this is wildly inappropriate and somewhat dangerous. The kids just got home from school and we get a half day, the high school. And I think that's so we can go to parades at our children's schools. We are gonna go trick-or-treating soon. That's that. We usually meet up with our friends along the way and they come back to our house afterwards for hot chocolate, and my wife makes a nice little spread, and the kids eat their candy and see what they got and dump out their stash, and it's fun. This week at school, today's Tuesday, it's not Wednesday. Yesterday, sophomores finished reading Act 2 of Julius Caesar. We're more behind in that play than I'd like to be, so I'm gonna really pick the pace up, and I talked to them yesterday about how the book is only fun, any book's only fun, if you just keep pushing through it. If you take really large gaps where you're missing stuff, it's just not fun. So in the book, you start to lose interest. You have to keep your momentum up. And so this week we've been talking a lot about grit, and the idea for the remainder of the week is going to be to work on grit and pushing through and getting this done. And then the freshmen will also hopefully finish the Odyssey by the end of the week as well. Today, since we had a half day, I started with a lesson and then the schedule changed. And you'll see this, teachers that are going to become new teachers, or maybe if this is your first year, you haven't had this yet, where you thought the schedule was one way and then it turns out to be another, and then you're completely unprepared for the day. Plus I had 3 students from St. Joe's come in. So what I did instead was with one class, I had the journal entry be name the best teacher you ever had and the worst teacher you ever had and explain why. And that was to hopefully give these girls some insight who are studying to be teachers, and give them a little bit of insight from students and what they think is important and what they think is, a weakness on the part of teachers. And that was a good conversation. And then I got to sit around with them during my off periods and have some really in-depth conversation. The other classes, I found out that most of my students don't watch Stranger Things. So we watched Stranger Things. That was the Halloween activity for the day. Now we're gonna get ready to go trick-or-treating. Brody.
You have one random really long hair.
I'm in the middle of recording.
I know that hair out.
Why are you talking about Daddy's hair?
I don't know, I'm trying to vlog over here. So Marley is being Cleopatra, and we're not really sure if that's culturally insensitive or not. That's a conversation that came up later in the week. It really just wants to hang out. There it is. It's like Michael Jackson in the 80s. Brody was Nate from Yokai Watch, which is a television show and then he's going to be this character from a video game called Bendy and the Ink Machine. So we made this situation, which is pretty cool. She attached a hat to the back of it so we can just put it on his head. It's pretty cool. The kids like giving out candy almost as much as they like going and getting candy. The Beast, however,
It's okay,
the Beast is not having it. He doesn't like trick-or-treaters. My tripod is in the car, so I am doing it real quick. Yesterday was Wednesday, we had Independent Reading Day, and here's a new kind of thought on Independent Reading Day. Fine, I don't like this angle. I can't live with it. I have to move it. That's better. Sort of, kind of. Thoughts on independent. I'm going to talk about two quick things in my few moments that I have in between classes here. One, the beginning of the year, I bought these labels. Three quick things. One, at the beginning of the year, I bought these labels, and what I do is I write stuff that I'm grateful for in the class. So this could be something that the students shout out that they're grateful for or that they bring up. Could be something that I noticed and I'm grateful for. But then we write them on these labels and I'm gonna start pasting them. I had them up on the wall, but nobody could see them. So I washed my windows yesterday and I'm gonna put them on the windows. This is just like sort of a gentle reminder to be grateful for things. When they say like, the school year sucks, I hate this school, I don't like this class, it's a good reminder to just like go back there, take a look at it, and I just think it helps. I just think that daily reminders of gratitude and how good things have been stop us from thinking like, my whole life sucks, or this year sucks, or my week sucks. And so in a couple of weeks that have really sucked for me, this is just one of the things I'm trying to do to like remind myself that good stuff is happening this year, and it's not just about me, but it's about the students, and it's about the class, and it's about the people that I work with. Independent Reading Day. Every Wednesday, students have to read we have half day every Wednesday. So the classes are 25 minutes long. You read for 20 minutes, like silent, sustained reading. If you bring your book and you read, you get all the points for the day. And like, here's the thing about points. They don't even have to mean anything. You just have to say points sometimes, and kids think that they're getting points. I mean, you are getting participation points, but I don't grade you for like how well you read. I just want you to start developing the ability to read for an extended period of time. If you don't bring your book, I give you one of these literary masterpieces because you forgot your book. Like this book about the affairs of John F. Kennedy Jr. Or this book, Catch Me, I'm Falling in Love. Or our old friend Robert and his unauthorized biography. Or this dollar store find, Clay Aiken, the most famous non-winner in the world, I think. I usually give these out, and I have books on Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, Justin Bieber, really weird romance novels, but I think I'm gonna switch this a little bit. I have too many kids this year that are not bringing books consistently to class, and so I think what I want to do is get excerpts from books that might be a little bit more meaningful. This used to be a punishment, and then kids would never forget their book again, but like anything else, things kind of run their course, and then they're not as impactful anymore. So I'm thinking about doing like, Tim Ferriss had a book, Tools of Titans, this one right here. I thought about photocopying sections of that. I thought about getting books that had small, meaningful sections in them that the students could read in that 20-minute period and walk away with something instead of just like having them read something like this. Hey, if you wouldn't mind, if you can think of a book that has small segments, like something that's between 3 to 6 to 10 pages that someone could read in a period that I could either make photocopies of or I could order books. I don't know if like a chicken soup for the soul would work, but that sort of thing would be really great. Someone's at my door. So if you could leave that in the comment section below, that would really just help me like expedite the process. Thanks a lot. The other thing I'm noticing is, I don't know why this, it's one of those things, sometimes you know how like you already knew something and then like you're sometimes reminded of what you already knew, which is for me this time is when I read with my students read better, they'll read for longer, they're quieter. If I'm trying to grade something, write something, text someone, do an email, do my attendance while the students are reading, they don't read as well. So I have the group of guys, here's a picture of it from the other day. They're always clowning around, they never stop talking with one another, but if I sit with them on the couch, or I at least sit near them like on the floor, and I'm chilling and reading and modeling what I want to see, they will do the same thing for longer. Just by being in their jurisdiction, I get to impact them in a greater way. I think that's interesting. I think when you're asking your kids to do work, if you're engaging with them and not trying to get something else done, you might have a better outcome. kids are watching me next door as I do this. I don't know why they get such a kick out of this. Another quick thing that I started doing yesterday, I've done this before with Expo markers so I could erase it. I've done this before with Post-it notes. You know, I have a kid in class that is, I put this on Instagram the other day, he's just mad as hell every day. He wants to put his head down. He doesn't want to do work. He hates everybody, hates everything. At least that's what he says. I don't believe it. I wrote in permanent marker on his desk yesterday. He's going to come in next period, so I'm interested to see how this goes. And that's a quote from Henry Rollins that is stuck with me ever since I read it, and I just think that it's really applicable to the students. Now, it doesn't mean that they have to hate their parents, but you could rebel against a number of things. The anger that you feel, the situation, the way that your life has kind of unfolded. I got a lot of dudes that tell me that they have a lot of anger management problems, and I think it's what do you do with that anger? Like Mr. Rogers used to say,
what do you do with the mad that you feel? When you feel so mad you could bite. When the whole wide world seems oh so wrong, and nothing you do seems very right.
Love Mr. Rogers. I don't know that this will impact him, but I thought I would write it on there anyway, and we'll see how that goes. Now look, I don't suggest going around writing in permanent marker on all of your desks. A friend said to me the other day, like, he wishes he could get away with this in public school, but like, I don't know if I can get away with it in this school, but I just knew that it needed to be done, and that kid needed that message, and I didn't want it to erase. I want it to be there every single day. When he sits in the same seat, it's there every day. So maybe he does come in today and he isn't impacted by it. But maybe looking at that same thing day after day will finally like seep into him. Maybe I think quotes are sometimes like water. Like it takes a while for them to find their way through the cracks, but once they do, they can do some real damage. And I'm hoping that damage is in a good way. So that's that. Today's Thursday. We're doing journal entry was come on over here. I don't like bright lights in my room, which is why it's always dim. I like it. It looks more chill in here. Describe a quality which you possess and someone else possesses in this class that the gods would find impressive. So we're reading Julius Caesar and the Odyssey. And the idea here is that when we're talking about the Greek gods, like what is something that you do or have that would impress them? And then you have to shout somebody else out in the class. I love when kids are surprised with joy. That someone will get a compliment from another student that they didn't see coming, or they didn't realize anyone saw them before, or that they didn't realize somebody saw that particular thing about them, so that someone's really funny, or someone's really caring, or someone's really patient. And when I can do that for the students, that's one thing. But when the students do it for one another, I think that happens so infrequently that it's really impactful to them. And then we're just reading. I'm trying to finish up the Odyssey this week, and I'm trying to finish up this part of Julius Caesar. Look, I got kids that read at a low level and are having a hard time understanding the material. So we're really just kind of like taking our time. Today was about grit, and I pushed them to read longer than they've had all year. And you could feel the squirreliness in the class. You could feel the antsiness. But we stopped and I said, this is important. I know that you're having a hard time reading this right now. I know that it's getting boring. I know you're feeling lost. I'm going to keep stopping. I'm going to keep checking in and making sure everyone knows what's happening. But we're going to keep reading. Because sometimes you have to push through. You have to learn whether it's a push-up or whether it's reading or whether it's, in a relationship that's important to you. Grit matters so much. You need to be able to push past what you think you're capable of doing. And I don't do that every day, but today's one of those days in class where I'm making them push past, and we're kind of noting the fact that it's uncomfortable, and then we're pushing past it anyway. And that's it for the day. And then I go tonight to go speak at St. Joe's to class. I have 3 girls that come in from St. Joe's University every week. They sit in on my class, and their professor contacted me, asked me to go speak to their class this evening, so that should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. And so now we're back to Friday, and here's a little bit of what went down today. So first of all, last night I spoke at St. Joe's, and it was really fun. It was about an hour and a half of talking about school and what it's like to be a teacher, and it was really fun. Because if it's not you, it's not you. Like it's like me saying humor works for me in the classroom, and then someone's like, all right, I just have to learn to be funny now, and I'm gonna go do that in the classroom. I eat breakfast with my students every single day. So as soon as they come into school, my room is a safe place that anyone can sit, and I have the only couch in the school, and everyone wants to sit on they'll squat like 5 dudes on the couch, and they're like squished in. what I'm trying to minimize is someone feeling unseen. Thanks to Maggie and Christina for having me. I don't even know if you watch this stuff, but like, thanks for having me in. It was really fun and I really, really enjoyed it. Today, you know, it's funny how some classes will just roll with certain stuff and like you'll have a lesson and people just roll with it and you didn't think it was going to be that great. Today's journal entry was describe the biggest favor anyone's ever done for you. And that really spawned a great conversation in 2 classes. And then it's funny because 2 other classes, it didn't. It was just kind of like fell flat and no one really talked about it. I find that sometimes the deeper the question, the more some students are reluctant to answer it. So if I ask about like a time that someone let you down, they said they were gonna do something and they didn't. Who is the person that's the most loyal to you? Someone that has your back? That was another question this week. Sometimes when things hit too close to home, they don't really roll with it. And so I see that more in the freshmen because they're not sure of who I am yet. They're still trying to front in front of everyone else. But the sophomores are far more likely to share those answers because we've been together since last year. So minus a co-teacher, this week was pretty good. Friday was a little bit more hectic than last week was. They are looking for someone now, so we'll see what that's going to look like. Today for Julius Caesar, we talked about, this was the scene where yesterday Caesar was killed, and we talked about that in terms of, is it ever okay to kill someone, to assassinate someone like that? And then that turned into a conversation about terrorism. What is terrorism and how do we identify it? Who gets to decide whether it's terrorism or whether it's someone fighting for justice and what they believe in? Sometimes with these conversations, right, I don't have an end goal. I don't have an answer that I'm trying to get the kids to work through. I'm just trying to get them to work through it in general, to start thinking about things. How do they feel about something? What have they been told so far? And then I just challenge those opinions as much as I can, and it's a great way to start getting the kids to think about things critically. There's always all this focus in schools about having critical thinking in the classroom, and that could be as easy as just asking a simple question every day, having the kids answer it, and then being the devil's advocate and just keep pushing them on their answers. Why do you think that? But why do you say that? Well, what about this? Well, what about whatever it is? And just like pushing those answers is really interesting, or pushing them on their answers is really interesting. They're not allowed to just answer. They have to back it up with something. Freshmen are almost done the Odyssey. We read that today, and then they just read and answered questions, and we read with grit again today, so we read for an extended period of time. People that teach reading, I mean, you know, sometimes that feels like a long time when you're just sitting there reading with the students. So on a personal note, this was a better week. I had a lot of hard conversations this week, and I think that that's worth talking about for a second, because I think hard conversations with colleagues and with other folks is really important to know how to. If someone just complains, maybe I should do a whole video on this idea, but there's something I do called closing the loop, right? And this is taught to me by a number of friends, and this idea where if someone comes to you and complains about someone else, whether it's a teacher, whether it's a family member, whether it's a friend, I let folks know that I am required to close the loop. You cannot just complain to me about something and then leave me with that gift. I need to then tell the other person that you are talking about them. And everyone knows this. Now, there's a difference between just venting and trying to figure things out and work it out with me before you go and take care of it. But what I don't want is to become part of that gossip train. What I want to do is stop it. I think that you having the conversation with the person you have a problem with is the most important thing. So if you tell me, if you're talking trash on someone, I am now required, and everyone knows this on the front end, to go and talk to that other person and tell them that this is what's going on and that you need to work that out. Having difficult conversations is one of the hardest things in the world to do, but it's what every relationship requires if you want it to be strong. You're always stronger going through that process if you're really listening to someone, and if you're really saying what's on your mind, your relationships are always stronger for that. So that's what's something that's been on my mind. And so I've had a lot of those conversations this week. It's been a better week for it. I'm still not sure what the school year is going to hold. I'm feeling lost, and I'm feeling like I'm not sure what's next and how to sort of orchestrate it, but I'll tell you that it's the students that have made me want to come to school every day this week. It's the students that I know need me because they show up every day letting me know that they need me, and so that's what keeps me kind of like showing up and pushing through a lot of the stuff that's going on in my life. So for all of you that are trying to like just get through it, I empathize with you. And if there's anything I can do to help you, please email me and I'll do my best to get back to you. I know I say that a lot, and I know sometimes it takes me a long time to get emails back, but it's just the nature of the beast. I'm a teacher, and I'm a dad, and I'm a husband, and I'm trying to do YouTube, and there's a lot of things calling my attention, but this audience has become very, very important to me because you all do such fantastic stuff, and I don't know what else to kind of say about that. I just think that it's amazing, this community, and I'm growing to love it more and more and more. To close out, let's do trick-or-treating this week. This is what trick-or-treating looked like in New Jersey.
You're freaking me out.
Have fun, get a lot of candy.
Like, oh, I'm right.
Who's that guy?
Oh, no, dude.
What? Scary clown?
No, I know what that means.
Wait, did I skip somebody?
No. We have a...
Favorite kind of candy you're looking for? That one? All right, cool. I love it. From here, crew runs all the way back. It's a lot of people trick-or-treating together. Hey, have I seen you before?
Yes.
Is your name Twisty?
No.
Winky?
Bendy.
Bendy, that's right. All right.
He just looks at me like, you look fantastic.
That is awesome. This week, I love trick-or-treating. My town goes nuts for it. Everyone sits out on the stoop, and you don't have to knock on doors, and they're just handing out candy, and there's tons of great costumes, and you see all your friends. And I live in a neighborhood where a lot of people just drink beer and walk around. Just kind of different thing than a lot of other neighborhoods, and it leads to a lot of interesting sights in the neighborhood. So I'm looking forward to a great week next week, and we'll get after that when we get to it. Thanks. I hope you have the best weekend ever. Peace.